A man can build his body, yet still be weak. Because real strength is not in the arms, it's in the mind. And every day, you may be doing things that silently drain it, without even knowing. What if the reason you feel unfocused, anxious, or powerless is not because of what you lack, but because of what you keep allowing? Which of these 10 mental traps are you guilty of? Like this video if you're ready to build unshakable mental strength, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Rule 2. Confronting your avoidance of discomfort. Breathe in the quiet confidence you cultivated. The feeling of being anchored in your own principles, independent of the world's judgment. Now, let's turn our attention from the outer world to the inner landscape. As you rest here, safe and still, notice if there are any doors in your mind that you keep firmly shut, rooms you avoid entering. These are the spaces where we store discomfort. This is the second habit that quietly erodes our mental strength. Avoiding what is hard, it's a natural instinct to seek comfort. We delay the difficult conversation. We put off the workout we know we need. We choose the easy entertainment over the challenging book. We walk the long way around any obstacle that promises struggle. Each time we do this, we tell ourselves, it's for peace, for an easier life. But the Stoics knew a deeper truth. What we fear to face controls us. The task you avoid doesn't disappear. Instead, it lingers in the back of your mind, a shadow growing longer and darker with each passing day. It drains your energy, fuels your anxiety, and subtly whispers that you are not capable, that you are not strong enough. Seneca once wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. By avoiding discomfort, we allow the imagined pain to become a monster, far more terrifying than the actual challenge itself. The antidote to this is not to seek out pain for its own sake, but to see discomfort as a necessary training ground. Your courage, your resilience, your discipline, these are not qualities you are simply born with. They are muscles. And like any muscle, they grow stronger only when they are tested against resistance. The Stoic fix, therefore, is profoundly simple, yet powerful. Do one difficult thing every day. This is not a call for grand, heroic acts. The training begins with small, deliberate choices. Think about tomorrow. What is one small thing you have been putting off? Is it waking up the moment your alarm rings without hitting snooze? Is it taking a cold shower for the last 30 seconds? Is it finally making that phone call you've been dreading? Is it sitting in silence for 5 minutes without any distraction? Choose one. Just one. In your mind's eye, see yourself tomorrow, standing before that small moment of resistance. Don't imagine it being easy. Instead, feel the pull of avoidance, the familiar desire to turn away. But then, picture yourself taking a steady breath and stepping forward. You make the call. You get out of bed. You face the discomfort, not with aggression, but with calm resolve. And then, feel the shift that comes after, the quiet surge of pride, the lightness of a burden released, the powerful internal knowledge that you chose strength over ease. You faced the monster, and you saw that it was small. With every small act of courage, you are rewiring your brain. You are teaching yourself that you are the kind of man who can handle difficulty. You are shrinking the shadows and expanding your capacity for life. As you drift deeper now into rest, hold that intention for tomorrow. Let it be a quiet promise to yourself. You are not just going to sleep. You are preparing to train. Rest now, warrior. Tomorrow, you will build your strength. Rule 1. Releasing the need for approval. As you settle into the quiet of this moment, let the noise of the world fall away. Take a slow, deep breath in, and as you exhale, release the day. Let go of the conversations, the expectations, the digital noise. Feel the weight of your body supported, secure. You are here now, in this sanctuary of stillness, ready to journey inward. Tonight, we begin by examining a heavy chain that many of us carry without ever realizing it's there. It's the subtle, constant habit of seeking approval. Think of it, that flicker of anxiety before you post something online, waiting for the likes to appear. The way you might soften your opinion in a group, hoping to fit in. That quiet, gnawing hunger for a well done, a nod of agreement, a sign that you are accepted. We feel it as a need to be validated, to have our worth confirmed by the outside world. We become actors on a stage, performing for an audience whose applause we crave, and whose silence we fear. The ancient Stoics, masters of the mind, saw this with piercing clarity. They understood that to chain your happiness to the applause of others is to hand them the keys to your own cell. The philosopher Epictetus warned that if you seek praise, you give away your power. Why? Because you cannot control what others think. Their opinions are like the weather, unpredictable, ever-changing, and entirely outside of your influence. To depend on them for your sense of self-worth is to build your house on shifting sand, forever vulnerable to the whims and moods of others. You become a slave not to a person, but to 1,000 fleeting judgments. This is not a foundation for a strong mind. So, how do we break this chain? How do we build our fortress on solid rock? The fix is to anchor your worth not in applause, but in your principles. Imagine, right now, deep within your chest, a solid, immovable core. This is your inner citadel. It isn't built from the praise of others, but from the values you choose to live by: honesty, integrity, courage, discipline, kindness. Tonight, before you drift to sleep, I want you to define just one of these for yourself. Let's choose integrity. Quietly, in your mind, ask yourself, what does it mean for me to act with integrity tomorrow? Perhaps it means speaking the truth, even when it's difficult. Perhaps it means finishing a task you promised you would, with no one watching. The act itself, the alignment with your chosen principle, is the reward. The approval is internal. It is the quiet, powerful satisfaction of knowing you have been true to the man you are building. Feel that sense of inner strength, of self-reliance. It doesn't need a cheering crowd. It doesn't need a single like. It is calm, steady, and unshakable. As you breathe out, let go of the need for the world to approve of you. As you breathe in, anchor yourself in the man you are choosing to become. Sleep now, anchored and secure, knowing your worth is not for sale. It is forged by you, for you. Rule 3. Taming the immediate reaction. You are resting in a state of quiet strength, having made a pact with yourself to face difficulty with courage. As you sink deeper into this stillness, let that calm resolve spread through you. We will now turn our focus to the moments when peace is most fragile, when the world tests our composure. We will examine the third habit that sabotages our mental fortress: reacting without thinking. Think of a moment when you felt that sudden flash of heat. A critical email, a careless word from a friend, someone cutting you off in traffic. In that instant, something primal takes over. Words leap from your mouth before you've considered them. A decision is made in a blaze of emotion. And in the quiet aftermath, as the adrenaline fades, regret often rushes in to take its place. We feel foolish or unkind or weak for having lost control. The Stoics had a stark and brilliant name for this state: a brief madness. They understood that anger, or any powerful, unchecked emotion, is a temporary insanity. It's a moment where your rational mind, the calm captain of your soul, is thrown overboard, and the chaotic storm of passion seizes the wheel. In that state, you are not truly free. You are a puppet, jerked around by external events and internal impulses. True strength, the strength of a Stoic, is not found in the force of your reaction, but in the power of your restraint. It is the ability to stand firm in the heart of the storm and choose your response with wisdom and clarity. The fix is not to eradicate emotion, for we are human, but to build a space between the trigger and the response. The fix is to build the pause. Let's practice this now in the safety of your imagination. Picture a small spark of irritation. It could be anything. A memory of a frustrating event, or the thought of a challenge you face tomorrow. Feel that familiar flicker of heat begin to rise in your chest. Notice the impulse to tense up, to clench your jaw, to let the emotion dictate your state. But this time, you are going to do something different. As the feeling arises, you do not act, you do not speak. You simply breathe. Take one conscious, deliberate breath in, and a long, slow breath out. In that space you just created, that sacred second or two, something miraculous happens. The initial blinding flash of emotion begins to soften. The fog starts to clear. Your rational mind, your inner captain, climbs back on deck. In that pause, you reclaim your power. You move from being a reactor to being a responder. You are no longer a slave to the moment. You are its master. The pause gives you the freedom to ask, is this event truly worth my peace? What response aligns with my values? What is the wise and strong thing to do here? This is your training. The breath is your tool. With every challenge tomorrow, see it as an opportunity to practice the pause. Before you reply to that text, before you answer that question, before you act on that impulse, breathe. One breath is a moat around your inner citadel, giving you time to prepare your defenses and act from a place of strength, not madness. As you drift towards sleep, let your own breathing be a rehearsal. Each calm inhale and slow exhale is a reminder of the space you are building within yourself. A space of peace, of power, of control. Sleep now, resting in the profound stillness of the pause. Rule 4. Escaping the trap of comparison. You are resting in that powerful space you have created, the pause. A space of calm, rational thought. From this inner sanctuary, we can now safely observe one of the most common and corrosive habits of the mind, a thief that steals joy and poisons our own journey. This is the habit of comparing yourself to others. Let your mind drift for a moment to the world outside this room. The endless scroll of social media, a curated gallery of triumphs. A friend's promotion, a stranger's perfect vacation, another's seemingly effortless success. It's a vast, glittering landscape, and it's natural to look at it. But when that look turns into a measurement, a yardstick against which you judge your own life, the poison seeps in. A hollow ache begins to form, a feeling of being behind, of not being enough. You see their highlight reel and compare it to your own behind-the-scenes footage, with all its struggles, doubts, and messy realities. It's a game you can never win, because you are not playing on the same field, with the same rules, or starting from the same place. The Stoics saw this as a profound blindness. When your eyes are fixed on your neighbor's path, you cannot see the ground beneath your own feet. You miss the progress you have made. Envy, they taught, doesn't just make you miserable. It blinds you to your own blessings and your own growth. You could be climbing a great mountain, making steady, admirable progress. But because you are craning your neck to see someone on a different peak, you feel as though you are standing still. This constant external gaze robs you of the satisfaction of your own effort and the gratitude for your own unique journey. It is an exhausting, fruitless, and self-inflicted wound. The fix is to consciously redirect your gaze. The only comparison that has any value, the only one that can truly fuel your growth, is to compare yourself to who you were yesterday. This is where true self-awareness begins. So, as you lie here, floating on the edge of sleep, I want you to gently turn your focus inward and backward in time. Think of the man you were a year ago, the challenges he faced, the things he did not yet know, the weaknesses he struggled with. Acknowledge him with compassion. Now, think of the man you were just this morning, and consider the man you are right now, in this bed, having reflected on your need for approval, your fear of discomfort, and your reactions. Have you not grown? Have you not learned something, however small? Perhaps today you practiced that pause, even for a second. Perhaps you chose a slightly healthier meal. Perhaps you simply became aware of one of these negative habits. That awareness is progress. That is a victory. This is the only race that matters. You against your former self. Let go of the need to measure your journey against anyone else's. Their path is not your own. Your purpose is not to become them. It is to become the best possible version of you. Feel the profound relief. In that realization, the pressure lifts, the envy dissolves. It is replaced by a quiet, focused determination. As you drift off to sleep, let this be your final thought. Tomorrow, your only goal is to be a little bit wiser, a little bit stronger, a little bit more disciplined than the man you were today. Sleep now, not in competition with the world, but in quiet celebration of your own becoming. Rule 5. Halting complaints about the uncontrollable you are resting now in a state of quiet self-possession. Your gaze is turned inward. Your journey is your own, and you are comparing yourself only to the man you were yesterday. This is a powerful state to be in, but even here, in this internal focus, our energy can leak away, drained by a habit so common we often don't even notice it. The habit of complaining about what we cannot control. Think of it as a low, constant hum of frustration that runs in the background of your life. The complaint about the traffic that made you late. The sigh over the rainy weather that ruined your plans. The grumbling about a coworker's incompetence or a politician's decision. We voice these grievances, perhaps to ourselves, perhaps to others, feeling a momentary flicker of justification. But what are we truly doing? We are pointing our energy, our focus, our precious mental strength at a solid, unmoving wall, and we are pushing with all our might. The wall, of course, does not budge. But we become exhausted. The Stoics saw this as the most fundamental error in the art of living. The great teacher Epictetus made it the very foundation of his philosophy. Our happiness depends on understanding the clear line between what is within our power and what is not. To waste even a single breath complaining about things outside our power, the weather, the past, the actions of other people, is to willingly weaken our own spirit. It is to cast ourselves in the role of a victim, to tell a story where we are powerless. And a man who believes he is powerless soon becomes so. Every complaint is an affirmation of your own weakness. The solution, then, is a radical act of mental discipline. It is to consciously and deliberately focus your energy solely on what lies within your sphere of influence. Let's practice this separation right now. As you lie here in perfect stillness, bring to mind a situation in your life that is currently causing you frustration. Something you might find yourself complaining about. It could be a difficult project at work, a challenging global event, or a personal relationship issue. See it clearly in your mind. Now, imagine drawing a circle of light around yourself. This circle represents your power, your will, your influence. Look at the situation again. Which parts of it lie outside that circle? You cannot control your boss's mood. You cannot control the economy. You cannot change what someone else thinks or does. Mentally place all of those elements outside the circle. As you do, feel the immense burden of responsibility for them simply falling away. It was never yours to carry. Let it go. Feel the tension leave your shoulders and your jaw. Now, turn your gaze to what remains inside your circle of light. Your attitude, your effort, the words you choose to speak, the kindness you choose to show, how you prepare, how you react, how you plan for the future. This small, brilliant circle is the only domain you need to command. Here, you are not a victim. You are a king. If the weather is bad, you can choose your attitude towards it. If a project is difficult, you can control the focus and quality of your work. Your power isn't in changing the world, but in mastering your response to it. As you drift into a deep and restorative sleep, hold this image of the circle of light. Let go of the world outside of it. It will continue to turn with or without your worry. Your true work lies within. Rest now in the calm and potent center of your own power. Rule 6. Governing your decisions with principle, not emotion. You are resting in the calm center of your power, having drawn the circle of your influence and released the burden of the uncontrollable. From this place of profound peace, we can now examine the forces that stir within that circle. This brings us to the 6th habit that undermines our strength: letting emotions rule our decisions. Think of your emotions as powerful weather systems moving through you. A sudden, brilliant storm of excitement, a cold, heavy fog of sadness or doubt, a hot, violent flash of frustration. These feelings are real, and they are a natural part of being human. The danger lies not in feeling them, but in handing them the steering wheel of your life. When a wave of enthusiasm hits, we might make a rash promise or a reckless purchase. When gripped by fear, we might abandon a worthy goal. When blinded by anger, we might sever a relationship with words we can never take back. In these moments, we are not free. We are being tossed about on the unpredictable seas of our own internal weather. The Stoics offered a powerful perspective on this. They taught that feelings are merely visitors, but your values are the foundation of your home. A visitor might be loud or charming or depressing, but they will eventually leave. You wouldn't rebuild your house to please a temporary guest. In the same way, you should not alter the course of your life based on a fleeting emotion. Your principles, your commitment to honesty, discipline, courage, and justice. These are the bedrock. These are the unshakable foundations upon which you build a life of purpose and strength. An emotion tells you what you feel like doing right now. A principle tells you what you must do, always. The fix, then, is to learn to act according to principle, not impulse. This requires the pause we practiced earlier, but it adds another layer: consultation with your inner law. Let's do this now. Bring to mind a core value you wish to embody. Let's choose discipline. Feel the weight and solidity of that word. Discipline. It isn't a feeling. It is a choice, a commitment. Now, imagine a scenario tomorrow. Perhaps it's the temptation to skip your workout or to procrastinate on an important task. The feeling of laziness or avoidance will arrive like an unwelcome visitor. It will whisper, "It's okay, just this once. You're tired. You deserve a break." This is the voice of impulse. In that moment, you will pause. You will acknowledge the visitor. "I see you," feeling of laziness. But you will not let it into the command center. Instead, you will turn to your foundation. You will ask your principle, "What does discipline demand of me right now?" And the answer will be clear, quiet, and firm. It will guide you to put on your shoes, to open the book, to do the hard thing not because it feels good, but because it is who you have chosen to be. This is true self-mastery. Not the absence of emotion, but the refusal to be ruled by it. As you drift deeper into sleep, let your values be your North Star. Emotions will come and go like clouds, but your principles remain fixed, guiding you steadily through any storm. Rest now, knowing that your life is being steered by a calm, wise captain, by you and not by the fleeting weather of your heart. Rule 7. Shifting from consumption to creation. You are resting now in a state of deep integrity, governed by principle, not by fleeting emotion. Your inner world is becoming a place of order and strength. Now, Let's look at the fuel you feed it. We arrive at a habit that defines our modern age, one that drains our potential as quietly as a slow leak in a tire. The habit of consuming more than you create. Think about the flow of a typical day. Information pours into us from every direction. The endless scroll on our phones, the stream of videos, the constant cascade of news, opinions, and entertainment. We are sponges, soaking it all in. We open our eyes in the morning and immediately begin to consume. We lie in bed at night, and the last thing we do is consume. It feels passive, easy, almost relaxing. But the Stoics knew that a mind that is only a receptacle, a mind that only takes in, is a mind in danger. They understood that passive living rots the soul. A muscle that is never used atrophies. A blade that is never sharpened grows dull. A mind that only consumes without ever processing, synthesizing, or producing becomes stagnant. You become a spectator in the stadium of your own life, watching others play the game. This is not the path of strength. The man of purpose is not a passive observer. He is an active participant. He is a builder, an artist, an architect of his own reality. The fix for this mental decay is a conscious and powerful exchange. Replace 1 hour of passive consumption with 1 hour of active creation. This doesn't mean you must become a great painter or novelist overnight. Creation is a broad and beautiful act. To build is to engage your mind and hands in a task that brings something new into the world, no matter how small. It is writing down your thoughts in a journal. It is learning 3 new chords on a guitar. It is going to the gym and building your body. It is fixing a broken chair. It is sketching an idea, planning a project, or cooking a meal from scratch instead of ordering one. It is any act that shifts you from being an audience member to being the one on stage. As you lie here on the threshold of sleep, imagine your energy as a currency. Tomorrow, you will have a finite amount to spend. You can spend it passively, letting it flow out of you into the endless digital void, leaving you feeling strangely empty and unfulfilled at the end of the day. Or you can choose to invest it. Picture yourself closing the laptop, putting the phone down, and picking up a tool, an instrument, a pen, or a weight. Feel the focus required. Feel the small, initial struggle. But then, feel the deep, solid satisfaction that comes from effort. The quiet pride of having made something, learned something, improved something. That feeling is real. It is substance. It nourishes the soul in a way that no amount of consumption ever can. Tonight, decide on one small act of creation for tomorrow. 1 hour you will reclaim. You are not just a consumer of the world. You are a co-creator of it. You are a force of action. As you drift into a deep and healing sleep, let this intention solidify within you. Rest now, not as a spectator, but as the builder, the creator, ready to forge your world anew when you wake. Rule 8. Overcoming the fear of failure. You are resting in the powerful identity of a creator, a builder. As you embrace this active role, you commit to bringing your energy into the world, to making, to doing, to trying. But as soon as you step onto this noble path, you will inevitably meet its constant companion, its shadow. This brings us to the 8th habit we must break: the paralyzing fear of failure. Think of a time you held back, an idea you never shared, a project you never started, a skill you never tried to learn. What was the voice that stopped you? For most of us, it is a whisper of fear. What if I'm not good enough? What if I look foolish? What if I try my best and it all falls apart? This fear can be so powerful that it convinces us that the safety of inaction is better than the risk of imperfection. We choose to keep our ship safe in the harbor, never knowing the vast oceans it was built to explore. We become statues frozen by the possibility of a fall. The Stoics saw this with absolute clarity. Failure in the attempt is not fatal. The only truly fatal failure is the failure of courage that comes from refusing to try at all. The outcome of your effort is never entirely in your control, but the choice to make the effort is. To surrender the choice out of fear is to give up the very core of your power. The antidote to this paralysis is a profound shift in perspective. It is to stop seeing failure as a verdict and start seeing it as a guide. The fix is to treat each setback as a teacher, not as a threat. Imagine a blacksmith forging a sword. The process is one of violence and stress. The raw iron is heated in a blazing fire, beaten with a heavy hammer, and plunged into water. These are all forms of failure for the iron's current state. But it is this very process of stress and setback that burns away impurities, strengthens the metal, and shapes it into something strong, sharp, and purposeful. The hammer is not a threat. It is a teacher. So now, in the safety of this moment, let's practice this reframing. Bring the mind to past failure, a time you stumbled, a goal you didn't reach. Don't shy away from it. Let the memory arise, and with it, perhaps, the old sting of disappointment or embarrassment. Acknowledge that feeling. But now, look at the memory differently. Ask it a new set of questions. Instead of, why did I fail? Ask, what did this teach me? Instead of, what's wrong with me? Ask, what weakness in my approach did this reveal? Was your preparation lacking? Was your strategy flawed? Did it show you a gap in your knowledge that you now know how to fill? See how the energy shifts? The memory is no longer a monument to your inadequacy. It becomes a roadmap. It is a lesson plan written specifically for you, showing you the exact areas where you need to grow. The setback wasn't a wall. It was a signpost, pointing you toward a better path. It was your teacher, giving you the precise feedback you needed to become stronger for the next attempt. As you drift into sleep, release the fear of getting it wrong. Give yourself permission to be a beginner, to be imperfect, to stumble. Welcome the lessons that will come from your efforts. Every mistake is just a stone on the path to mastery. Rest now, warrior, knowing you are ready to learn from the hammer, and the flame ready to be forged into the man you were meant to be. Rule 9. Ending the habit of speaking more than you listen. You are resting now in a state of profound readiness. You have made peace with the hammer and the flame, understanding that every setback is a lesson. You are prepared to be a student of life. But to truly learn, to absorb the wisdom that failure and experience have to offer, you must first cultivate the ground where that wisdom can grow. This brings us to the 9th habit that starves our growth, the habit of speaking more than we. Listen, consider the energy of a typical conversation. Notice the impulse, deep within us, to formulate our reply while the other person is still talking. The urge to share our own story, to offer our opinion, to correct a fact, to prove our knowledge. It feels active, engaged. But often, it is a form of egoic noise. We are so busy preparing our own transmission that we fail to truly receive the signal being sent. Our mind becomes a closed circuit, endlessly broadcasting our own thoughts back to ourselves, while the world outside is speaking, offering its lessons, its perspectives, its truths. We believe we are contributing, but we are merely building walls against new information. The Stoics revered silence, not an empty, awkward silence, but a rich, attentive stillness. They knew that wisdom is born from this quiet soil. The founder of Stoicism, Zeno, famously said that we were given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, so that we might listen twice as much as we speak. When you are speaking, you are only repeating what you already know. When you are listening, you open the door to what you do not. You create the possibility of learning something new, of seeing the world through another's eyes, of gaining a deeper understanding that was unavailable to you a moment before. True power does not lie in dominating a conversation, but in your ability to absorb it, to understand its nuances, and to respond from a place of genuine comprehension. The fix, therefore, is a conscious practice of receptivity. It is the discipline of listening twice as much as you talk. This is not a passive act of simply not speaking. It is the active, focused art of true listening. Imagine yourself tomorrow in a conversation. Feel that familiar urge to jump in, to interrupt, to state your case. And in that moment, you will remember this. You will consciously choose to hold your tongue. Instead of formulating your response, you will focus every ounce of your attention on the person speaking. Listen, not just to their words, but to the tone of their voice. Listen for the emotion behind the words. Listen for what they are not saying. Ask a question not to set up your own point, but to understand theirs more deeply. Tell me more about that. How did that feel for you? See the conversation not as a battle to be won, but as a map to be explored. This practice will transform your relationships. People will feel seen and respected in your presence. But more importantly, it will transform you. You will begin to accumulate a vast reservoir of knowledge and insight that loud and hasty men will never access. As you drift into sleep tonight, let the silence of the room be your teacher. Listen to the soft rhythm of your own breath. Listen to the quiet hum of the night. Let go of the need to broadcast. Become a receiver. Rest now in the quiet, immense power of a mind that is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Rule 10. Ending the cycle of the unexamined life. You are here now, at the end of this journey inward, resting in a profound and powerful stillness. You have learned to anchor your worth in principle, to face discomfort, to master your reactions, to celebrate your own progress, to focus your energy, to be ruled by values, to create more than you consume, to learn from failure, and to listen with intention. But all these lessons, all this strength, can be lost if not for our final, most crucial practice. This brings us to the 10th and final habit that keeps us trapped in cycles of weakness. The habit of living without reflection. Think of a life lived on pure momentum. Waking, working, eating, sleeping, and repeating without ever pausing to take stock. Days blur into weeks, weeks into years. We move forward, but we don't necessarily move upward. We carry the same biases, make the same poor decisions, and fall into the same emotional traps over and over again. We are like a ship without a navigator, sailing in circles, mistaking the motion for progress. We are busy, but we are not growing. The Stoics knew this was the greatest tragedy. The philosopher Socrates declared that the unexamined life is not worth living. Why? Because a life without reflection is a life that cannot learn. It is doomed to repeat its own mistakes, to remain a slave to its own worst habits, to never achieve its true potential. The fortress of your mind cannot be built and then abandoned. It must be maintained, inspected, and strengthened daily. The fix is the capstone of all Stoic practice, a simple yet life-altering ritual. End each day by asking yourself 3 questions. As you lie here now, ready for the final release into sleep. Let us practice this for the first time. Let the day that is now ending gently unfold in your memory. Don't judge it, just observe it. First, ask yourself quietly, what did I do well today? Scan your day for a moment of virtue, however small. Did you practice the pause? Did you choose discipline over ease? Did you listen when you wanted to speak? Did you show kindness? Acknowledge this victory. Feel the quiet warmth of self-respect. This is not about arrogance. It is about reinforcing the good. You are training your mind to recognize its own strength. Now, with the same gentle honesty, ask the second question, what could I have done better? This is not an invitation for self-flagellation. It is a calm, strategic review. Where did a negative habit show itself? Did you complain about something you couldn't control? Did you let fear stop you? See the moment clearly, without shame. This is your data. This is the lesson from your teacher, life. You are simply identifying the part of your fortress wall that needs reinforcement tomorrow. Finally, ask the most important question of all. How will I use this knowledge to be a better man tomorrow? This question turns reflection into action. You have identified a strength to build upon and a weakness to mend. Now you form a clear, simple intention. Tomorrow, when I feel that same irritation, I will take one deep breath before I respond. Tomorrow, I will start that task I've been avoiding for the first 5 minutes. You are programming your mind for success. You are no longer just hoping to be better. You are creating a clear plan to be better. This daily review, this quiet conversation with yourself is the engine of your growth. It ensures that every single day, no matter what happens, becomes a lesson. It transforms your life from a series of random events into a deliberate, conscious journey of self-mastery.